Hi, it's Terry Gaines. I'm going to give you some assembly tips on creating this fun fold card using the From My Heart Specialty Designer Series paper, which is in the January through June 2020 mini catalog by Stampin' Up. This paper is absolutely beautiful. It's 12 by 12. You get 12 sheets, 2 each of 6 different designs. They're double-sided, and some of the papers have a beautiful red and pink foil on them. They're all heart theme on one side, and there's stripes and etc. on the other side. So beautiful papers. Along with the suite of product that's available with this, there's a hard punch pack. We'll be using that for the card. Cutting out one of these hearts. That's one of the pieces of prep work I did. I did cut one of the heart images from this piece of paper. Also going to be using the Real Red 3/8 inch double stitch satin ribbon. It's beautiful ribbon. So for this card, the cardstock pieces we need, there's not many. We need a Real Red 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base. We need another Real Red piece of cardstock that is 3 1/8 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4, which is right in half. Flirty Flamingo cardstock layer, which is 4 by 5 1/4. A layer for the top of that, which is a 3 3/4 by 5 Whisper White. The Designer Series paper is 2 5/8 by 3 3/4. The heart image, we need a scrap piece of paper for another heart image, so I'll quick punch that out. I always turn my punches upside down so I can make sure that I've got all the alignment correctly. So that's what we need for this card. So you might be wondering, well, there's 3 pieces of the Flirty Flamingo. That's all coming from this postcard. I use the Stitch So Sweetly dies. It's a new nest of rectangles that are scalped. And I put this through my die cutting machine so I could get that layer right from the inside. It gets sandwiched in this layer of cardstock, so nobody's going to notice that that is missing. I'm also going to use that opportunity to get the scalped heart punched out. So I'm just going to let it rest, center it here, punch it out. And now I've gotten these 3 pieces from that one piece of cardstock. So that's going to be for that. Inside I have the white heart. The red scalped heart is actually coming from this piece. So we're going to just place that to the bottom, use my hands to center it, and punch that out. So that's the prep work. One more piece of prep work that I failed to mention is I added a subtle background using the subtle folder and ran that through my machine and added a subtle image to this piece of cardstock, which is right here. So that's the prep work for this, and let me get to the assembly. What we need for the assembly is, the first thing I need to do is take my adhesive, and I'm going to apply adhesive to the heart portion of this cardstock. I'm going to just let it rest. It might be hard to see on the camera, but I'm going to let it rest on the table. So it all rests on the table, and I'm going to line it up so it is about, it can be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 to an inch on this side. Now what I'm going to do, I always like to start with the smallest one. That's the one I'm putting my adhesive on. So the smallest layer here would be the Whisper White cardstock with the subtle. And I'm going to layer this onto this Flirty Flamingo with the rectangle cutout. Like I mentioned, now that's sandwiched in here. Nobody's going to notice that that portion is missing or that this piece is missing here. Now I'm going to assemble this to the card base. There we go. Be sure you burnish everything so it stays nice and secure. Now on this piece, I'm going to take my Designer Series paper, apply my adhesive, apply it to the scalped rectangle. I'm watching opposite corners for alignment. going to take the ribbon. It's approximately, I'm going to say 12 inches of ribbon, but I always like to leave it on the spool. That way I can save on the ribbon. I don't waste as much. So I'm going to just tie a knot around here. And when I say waste, what I usually end up wasting is just whatever I trim off that piece. So we've got that. Now I'm going to put adhesive here. Again, this heart is missing, but it's getting sandwiched in here. Whoops, and nobody's gonna notice that that is missing. So now I'm going to place this like so, burnish it. We got a couple things left. We're gonna attach this white heart. This is where the sentiment's you're gonna sign the card. So this is just enough space for a short and sweet sentiment. And this is going to be applied right underneath this flap. And then this heart, did I cut that other? Yep, there it is. This heart gets adhered to the Flirty Flamingo. And my tip on assembling this piece is this is going to go right like so. I want to make sure that adhesive doesn't adhere over or gets exposed on this side. So I'm going to put, I might be overdoing the dimensionals here, but I'm going to put 2 dimensionals here. Whoops, I grabbed an extra one hidden there underneath my finger. Whoops, one here. Take the backings off. Take the backings off these 2. Now what I can do is I can go here and see how I want to place this, place that down, and there I have my fun fold card with the From My Heart Specialty Designer Series paper. If you found me via YouTube, look in the comment section for a direct link to my blog post where you'll find the supply list, measurements, and instructions for this project. There'll be a PDF tutorial you can download. And I would love to have you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the red box underneath the video. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed creating this project with me.